Hello, good evening, Zambia. This has been an impromptu address, so we just received very disturbing reports, and because of these disturbing reports, we thought, why not come live and address some of them? And so, good evening, Zambia. Good evening, Chiwempala. I know that it's about 21:42 Chiwempala time, and so I thought we could address some of these issues. My name is Elias Munsha. I'm going to let you share as much as possible so that we can see how many people we can talk to today. So I'll let you share. So just click the share button and then let as many people as possible join in. If you want to join in the discussion, please, I have shared the StreamYard link, and so you can click there and then we can have a discussion. It's very important that we talk about this today because we really must continue advocating for the rule of law in our country. We must continue advocating for common sense approaches to problems that we are facing. And so we couldn't let this just go on. And so we have to address it. We have received extremely disturbing news from Lukashya. So Lukashya is one of the constituencies that are going to be having by-elections in 2 days. And so we have received news that several members of the United Party for National Development have been arrested, including the aspiring candidate for Lukashya. They've been picked up by police right now, and they are in police custody at the moment. We express our total displeasure with this kind of action. The Zambia police do appear not to be interested in peace. Now, it is not the rank and file of the Zambia police. We are aware that the people that are advocating for all this confusion are actually top members of the government, top members of the Patriotic Front. And so we are appealing to the government of the Patriotic Front to be reasonable, to quickly prevail over this matter and release Mr. Davis Mulenga and several members of the United Party for National Development immediately. It cannot be a fair by-election where candidates feel intimidated by the actions of the police. It is not fair and it is not right. The only thing that can be done is to level the playing field. And you cannot have a leveled playing field if members of the opposition are being arrested in this manner. We again appeal to the President of the Republic, Dr. Edgar C. Lungu Basi, to look into this matter, and the Minister of Home Affairs to look into this matter immediately. And so we are appealing to them to immediately release Mr. Mlenga. I've just seen an update here that Big Mule is not part of the people that have been arrested. Okay, quite contradictory information there that I've just noticed. In any case, we know that Honorable Mucheleka has been arrested as well. He is the Deputy Secretary General of the United Party for National Development, and he's been accused of some trumped-up charges of aggravated robbery. And so it is non-bailable and is likely to continue being in jail until his matter is heard. Again, it's all about fairness and common sense. That is what this must be all about. Common sense and fairness. We know that the Zambia police must, if they have to make an arrest, you make an arrest for offenses that are proportionate to the offense, charges that are proportionate to the offense. You do not just dream up charges in order to punish citizens of our country. That is not right. That is not appropriate. it is unfair, and we cannot tolerate that. We are not going to sit back and let the Zambia police charge people disproportionately and keep them in jail. Not during by-elections, not during this COVID crisis, not in our country. And we are not just going to let it slide and say, let's just forget about it. No. There has got to be peace during by-elections. And one of the things that assures peace in a by-election is total transparency about the process, total faith in our institutions. That is what is going to inspire confidence. But when there is this type of confusion, some people might take things in their own hands, might take justice in their own hands, and we are going to have a calamity that is greater than the issues that we are facing at the moment. And so we are appealing again to the president and to the ruling Patriotic Front to be reasonable during this time. If Big Mule is not part of those arrested, if Big Mule is not part of those that have been arrested and they've been jailed tonight, we still appeal to the Zambia police to be reasonable as they are looking at the people that they have picked up this evening. As far as Honorable Mucheleka is concerned, again, it is our appeal that if he has committed an offense, he be charged with an offense that is proportionate to the offense. We understand that there was a misunderstanding regarding registration equipment for NRCs. We do not know the details of those disagreements. But one thing that is very clear is that it was not aggravated robbery, and it cannot be aggravated robbery. During these moments, there will always be political differences, but it should not be the Zambia police to resolve our political differences. The Zambia police should only be there to arrest people that have committed crimes, not for political differences, never. Certainly, the Zambia police should not be used to settle political differences and political issues. Those are some of the things that we continue holding this government to account. If the Patriotic Front really believes that they are quite ahead and they are going to win Lukashya, why are they resorting to these underhanded methods in Lukashya? It is because pressure is building, and we understand that the opposition is doing extremely well in this election, and they are likely to win Lukashya. And because they are likely to win, the Patriotic Front has started panicking because they really do not know what has hit them. They are confused. And when a person is confused and they've got a power over bullets and guns, they want to use those guns. They want to use those bullets because the people of Lukashya want to remove these Patriotic Front thieves. And so, naturally, the Patriotic Front is panicking, extremely panicking, okay? And so we are in a very, very difficult situation, and that's why we decided to come over here to talk about some of these things, okay? I'll have a look at some of the, someone is saying, how are you? Very fine, very fine. Okay, thank you. Big Mule has not been arrested, but PF police must behave. Okay, Rebecca Becky has corrected that Big Mule has not been arrested. It's just several other UPND members that have been arrested. And so we are asking the Zambia police to behave themselves and not to be used as political tools to achieve the goals of the Patriotic Front. And so that is what we are doing. So thank you very much, Rebecca, for correcting that. Thank you. Musolo alana alunya ba munsha wesu kuno. Okay, it's pretty pathetic, and I hope that they are going to correct it. Elias says mdala na imwe sometimes. Sorry, are you talking about me, Elias? You are Elias who? Okay, so again, Davis Mleng has not been, but the arrest of the youths is a concern. Kampiongo must behave. I think they are under pressure. They know that they are going to lose Lukashya. And because they know that they are going to lose in Lukashya, they are trying to intimidate citizens of our country. We refuse to be intimidated. Our people refuse to be intimidated. And we are calling upon the powers that be to be reasonable. That's what we are doing. And it's not too much to ask. Okay. Evans Kama confirmed Big Mule has not been arrested. So thank you for that. Big Mule has not been arrested, but he's a leading candidate at the moment. And we are looking for an upset in Lukashya. An upset in Lukashya. That is what is needed there, so that at least that's it goes to the opposition. Because the Patriotic Front has not been a good party. It has been a party of thieves. It has been a party of deceivers. It has been a party that has contracted debts in Zambia, and it is a party that is responsible for 20 kwacha to $1. It is responsible for wrong medicine, bad medicine, theft, ambulances, corruption, everything that you can ever think about what is going on wrong in our country. It's been as a result of the management of the Patriotic Front. Okay? They're the ones that are responsible for all that. And because of that, we are quite concerned. And so we needed to do this so that they know that the people of Zambia are watching. It is the people of Zambia that are vanguards of their democracy. Ordinary citizens, when you see any rumor of such actions, we stand up together and we together hold this idea, this view, that the Zambia police should not be used to settle political differences. Of course, we are aware of the President of the Republic, who famously yesterday said in Mwansawombwe that if Mr. Hakainde Hichilema is unlucky, they are going to charge him with an offense. Of course, this is a leader who really has no program. And that's how everything starts. You see how the Patriotic Front works. At first, when all these rumors about privatization started, the Patriotic Front said, no, it is not our baby. That is what Sunday Chanda said. No, it is not our baby. This is a matter between Hakainde Hichilema and Edith Nawakwi. But we knew that in no time they're going to drive themselves to where they intimidate an ordinary citizen of our country, Hakainde Hichilema. And now the president has repeated the threat that if Hichilema is unlucky, they are going to arrest him, which is pretty sad. That is not how you rule a country. Okay, that is not right. You cannot, as a president, be ruling a country through threats. You know, you can't do that. It's not right to lead a country in that manner. A president, you are not expected to do a lot. All you have to do is to show up for your job. Be a man. All right? Umwaume, umuntu. That's it. That's all the country needs. But abaliporero, awumwandi, batolwawo katolawo kafe, nokushana efiri opposite. Ulwimbo luleya ku left, bena baleshani na ku right. Filafine baleshana ku Mwansawombwe. Opposite. Efe nokuteeka bateeka. Kanshita bateeka efitunturife kuba very straightforward yo. Batolawo ka ulwimbo lulerira ku left, bena baleshani na ku right. Kanshi kuti muwamono omuntu w'amaani wakwata mufyo aleshana emishanine. So kanshi basi bena ulwimbo lulerira bena instead yako batu baleya ku left baleya ku right nokuteeka efyo bateeka. So nomba kanshi ngata akwete program, you begin trying to use the might of the state. Bako batomfwe Hichilema ati balipo nomba ababemba baliranda bafu abantu bashala abantu epera echo ngachishitwala tene nati is going to arrest everyone. No bafu abantu bashala abantu. And so there will always be people that are going to fight for the liberty of our country, for the liberty of our humanity. That is what it is. Okay, so basi nangu bashane olyamsango or whatever it is, the people of Zambia bakailubula, and beginning with Lukashya, I think we are going to see very good results for the opposition. That is what we are going to see. Good afternoon. Even Ramaphosa is worse. Oh, yeah. I think we need to. You need to remove Ramaphosa. Hey, yeah. But of course, in South Africa, it's different because in South Africa, it's the parliament, it's the party that has rights over a president. So the ANC can wake up today and remove Ramaphosa. In Zambia, it's very different system, right? You can't have such in Zambia, and so that's the difficulty. Yeah. So if the ANC wants, tomorrow they can remove Ramaphosa. That's a good thing. In Zambia, no, they can't. Edgar Lungu hates HH so that he will faint next year after he wins the election. Of course, HH will only win the election if you as citizens vote for him. That's why continue mobilizing, continue coming on air and making these issues dramatic. It's very important. Yeah. That's very important. Validated Council, these cadres are a nuisance and they are always there. Both parties are to blame for any political maneuvers. Okay, I think there is some sense in what you are saying. That's why, you see, okuteke mbwa mano. That's what it is. Okuteke mbwa mano. Ebuteko bwine. So, valungu teti bali kumwansa bombo, bali chita threaten an innocent citizen. Bamuchita threaten. And you expect that in Lukashya things are going to turn out properly. Mulandu wakubati ukuteke mbwa mano. Ngata ukweta mano teti uteke. Ngata ukweta mano kutu wasanga $20 kwacha. Obunga 200 kwacha. Ama wages yabantu they are going down. Ama investors they are leaving. Because taukwete mano. Nombakanshi kwamba vyokula bepesha bambia tebalengere. Mulandu wakubati wewe uleteka taukwete taumuli mano iyo. Kaingo okuteka obumwena mufire ekitika teife fine nga kwaba enkondo mu Zambia ninshinani walenga tali nikateka wafye bulipo. So we can't continue at it's cadres. No, it's a leadership. Wenga niwe kateka kuba solid umwa ume solid, a solid leader. Wabaka pokola wabeba, we are going to be fair. Vaisizedu wabeba, we are going to be fair. That is how you rule in a democratic state, particularly when you are claiming that you are popular. That you are popular. Why are you using underhand methods? Kainge we ulandira ati yo mkwaine bali ntemwa ningwa miefintu nga ichongole panga chanshi. You know what I mean? Because if you are saying that the Patriotic Front is popular, then let us test it through free and fair elections. If you have free and fair elections, elo abantu bakusala tukakutotera tukwena uli chaume ati basi muli chaume. Nomba not in this manner. Yeah, go at face you intimidate people, you insult people, and that yo ichire manga tashukire muka muikata ngachinshi muka muikatira. Chishimbaka mbwiri chira bushiko kokoti. Elo wabo muiva nabo bena they are free today. Bali kule fima walls of Jericho. Elo imemwebena luwapula kamyebeko. Ababantu muleche tekeramo. Bali kule fima Jericho kulusaka. Ifingi bali venda lama na panshi patalala. Elo nomba bakonkanya popula isa kuluwapula ati yo ama votes. For how long are these people going to be depending on our votes? While they never leave. Barekula walls of Jericho. Luapula has a lot of ministers. And by a lot of ministers, what is happening? Kumwansa wombo eloba tumine kwa abantu kuya mkuimba nama pike atukuimba ukuimbe misebo. Echo, when you look at the film of President Lungu meeting Mwata Kazembe, you need to look at it and analyze it very well. Go and have a look at it. I think Zanis has it. Kuti muamona. Mwata tateme nwe yo. Aga Inde was received outside. Panse. Edgar Lungu was received inside with a lot of protocol. Gamamona protocol ya kutota ya fulanish mwishi bat mwata nafulwa. Ife chaba. Nombanga mwamona it's in a light-handed environment nish mwishi bat uyu mwata natemwa. That's how you saw that. Welcoming the president, passing through so many channels. Katushinda 10 people. Pako fiat nomba wamusuminisha tare nomba lungulanda. And inside Mukati, where Mwata expresses his greatest authority, Mukati, not Panse, no. Mukati, on his throne. It is a sign that it's not only Mwata who is concerned at what is going on. Even the people, ordinary people of Luapula, we need to say no to the Patriotic Front because these people, they are only looking for their own interests. That's all. They are not developing Luapula. Ne ngombe tabareta kwa Luapula hiyo. Ingashaye ngombe nikuli babululu babo febeka. Ife bareta ko fedi isabi. Fwebena Luapula isabi. Eryo bale imba kufechira kushkwatisa biye empowerment. Nombesa bilibe empowerment. Ife tulefwa ya ni ngombe. Namabisi. Pako watinangu abatosa, abena Luapula abatosa, nabo balepere, balepulukeko. Tuachula pavula, no wipi wafula. Tulefwa na ifuwa kulia kwe ngombe, nama, fianona. But no, the current crop of ministers from Luapula, they are stealing, they are only looking to their own interests. Every day, the reason why they are always going to court, nicho baleiva, beka miwe pati yo mkwai nicho batu pata fifuwe na Luapula, iyote lupato filweka, nicho, these current ministers aba PF, aba Luapula, ni baka walala, baleiva, echirengere, necho bale pusukira fie, nicho ka nikateka, nicho, vanwa nankwe, Varia nankwe no kwiba kwine beba nankwe. Echo bale pusukira. No kubatamfye data batamfye iyo. Because they're doing it together. And so that's why we need to continue for Ebena Luapula. We need to continue and say no. Ububu ngo te bweso tuwabukana. Mwebeba tamuiba mule ibira fuego. Muibira fe mweka. No kulia mulia mweka. Nefima walls of Jericho kokolusaka mulei kulira fimweka. Ero nombale lwati yo mkwa it's the people of Luapula province. No. Because if a president is non-performing, he deserves to be voted out. We should adopt a culture of putting this yes, we should. And that's why the elections that are coming are very important. Besides, the by-election in Lukashya is very important. The reason why the by-election in Lukashya particularly is important is to test the claims that the Patriotic Front has been making, that they are the strongest in Bemba areas. Okay? Very important. Luapula will be slightly difficult. That's why we need to continue talking to Luapulans. Ukwebat change from the Patriotic Front. But I know it will be far difficult to shift Luapula. But as for Northern Province, particularly Kubabe Mbankonko, I think they are going to change. Mbankonko na bata mpako shift, a very radical shift. Ero Mbankonko ngabachita shift in Chapwa. All these ideas of saying that no, Mbankonko they follow their Chitimukulu is not historically true. As a matter of fact, from the history of our country, subjects do not vote according to what the chief wants. Never. Go through history. So this history of thinking that no, you've got to be good to the chief in order for the subjects to vote for you is false. It is not true. Michael Sata insulted Mwango, the previous Chitimukulu. Okumutuka Chitimukulu kuli Michael Sata. Ero bashirube mbabasa muita Michael Sata tisa solondo rebere noko kuinensha iseko. And guess where his first seat was? In Lupososhi Kubabemba. Afmamuku batukira Chitimukulu Sata and Lupososhi became his first seat. So this idea that you must be good to chief, it's true. Kuba chindika bakanabesa. No, bakanabesa are not dictators of the voting patterns of their subjects. Never. Whatever were good to chiefs, be good to chiefs as a citizen. But this idea that it's the chiefs who determine, no. That's why bamulenga ni Emmanuel Mulenga baya ku Northwestern baya sanga kanongesha. Elo senior chief kanongesha asala ndoko but I like lungu shanshan vena bamona kona kalimo. The people of Northwestern province are now preferring the Patriotic Front. Kutuwaseka. No. The fact that Kanongesha is praising President Lungu does not mean that Kanongesha subjects are going to praise, not even in Luapula, because even Kazembe, the Kenimiebe, Kazembe, His Majesty Kazembe, Infumu Yesu Kazembe, Infumu Yababem, Kazembe, even Kazembe was pro-Arabi. And yet what happened in his kingdom was they went for PF. So all this idea, it's nothing. So that's why Lukashya is very important to give us an idea of where things are at as far as Mbankonko is concerned. I think there will be quite a significant damage to the Patriotic Front after this by-election. And once we see how that turns out, it will give us an idea of how the opposition is likely to perform. Yeah. Chiefs are not politically influential. No, they are not. We think they are, but pragmatically they are not. Empirically, using empirical evidence, no, they are not. Yeah. So that's why even the current issues, it's not going to go anywhere. So this idea of people thinking that because Kanyantamanga Tawomfwana na HH, it means then that HH is not going to do anything among Bemba subjects. No. The historical evidence does not just agree with such an analysis. Even in Barotseland, the reason why Kaunda won and Kaunda actually, prevailed over the Barotseland agreement was because Kaunda won in Barotseland against the wishes of Mwanawina III, right? Yeah. So he won more seats. He won all the seats in the Barotse National Council in 1962, 1963, against the wishes and desires of Mwanawina III. Such that when Kaunda was negotiating for independence, he had an upper hand. Okay, that's what happened. So all these things, chiefs are important. We need to respect chiefs, but they do not determine the political activities of their subjects. Yeah. Chatengwa Emmanuel, yes, we've gotten that. We've gotten that. Tabo, that chief, a full-time cadre, is no longer an issue to debate about. Let's forget about him. Or you mean which chief? Kazembe? Kanyantamanga? Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah, you are right. We shouldn't really be debating him. Okay. Honorable Chester Skyler, are you there?
Oh yeah, I'm there. Yes, good evening. Sir.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Oh, I'm very well.
Oh yeah. Thank you so much for accommodating me.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, to start with, it's very important to respect the constitution which we are governed by as a country.
Yes.
We have got a constitution which we have to respect as a country. Yeah. Parties may come today and tomorrow they may leave. Today we have got PF, tomorrow we may have another political party but Zambia shall remain the same.
Yes.
Therefore, we should have that in our mind to say we have to be patriotic to our country, not really the political parties. Now it's more like people, some people, they are more patriotic to their political parties than to the country. That's why we have got these things happening the way they are happening. Just coming to the issue which is in the Newsdigger's newspaper, where the president said if the man is not careful, we may lock him up, meaning the opposition leader, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema.
Yes, indeed, Mr.
If he committed a crime, we cannot defend it. But my question, or our questions as Zambian should be, why didn't they start the process just there and then? Take, for example, me as an individual here, I cannot control the governance system. Or, for example, the violence which
Honorable Chester, we've got to go. Sorry, thank you so much for that contribution. Thank you so much. Mambo, ready? Okay, so Trisha K. Adams, Elias Musha, can you explain more of your services? All the services that I do as an immigration lawyer here in Canada? Oh, of course, I will definitely be explaining that. But mostly, it is aimed at young, educated professionals, basically. It's an extremely competitive process. And if you want to exploit, you're welcome to. Of course, Zambia is now not only the Zambia that we have in Central Africa, Southern Africa. Zambia is now all over the world. So if you want to explore that, you can definitely do that. And in fact, every nation that has developed has had a strong country, but also a very vibrant diaspora. And so that could be one of the things that you could look at. So for those that are interested in those services, yes, I do that. I'm a lawyer here in Canada, and I do practice in Canadian immigration law. Okay, but we are not talking about Canadian immigration law today. But yes, we do that, and those that could be interested, young, educated professionals, right? So that we can spread and bring all these dollars. You see, that's why even the dollar is losing value, because there are very few Zambians in the diaspora, you know? I know that we are sending a lot of remittances back home, but the remittances can even be bigger and larger. And as long as we are sending more money, more dollars, you're going to see that the Zambian kwacha is going to be strengthened. Those are kind of strategies that a government needs to look at, you know? Export labor so that you can get back remittances. Very important. You know, Zambia is one of the most educated country. And in fact, people who are educated in Zambia, the younger ones, once they are able to work outside their own country, what happens is they even work better because there is no political pressure, you know. You're not subject to cadres. So one Zambia, one nation everywhere, you know, it's one Zambia, one nation. Foreign companies in Zambia send their income overseas. This is the issue disturbing our revenue, and thus the current rules need to be put in place. We can't have foreign-owned Zambian registered companies, and yet they are foreign accounts. This is serious crime, daylight robbery of our resources. This needs to be fixed. None of the above is relevant. Our economy is more relevant. We need to think before we are stripped naked. Of course, that is what everyone talks about, but what we need is a plan, Sam. Foreign investment, even here in Canada, they always talk about foreign investment because there are all these companies from all around the world that come to invest in Canada. And some think like we are taking Canadian wealth outside Canada and taking it somewhere else. You know, we have issues with China, issues with America, the biggest neighbor down south. And so there is always this talk. But what we need is consistency in policy. Zambia is not independent today. It was independent in 1964. What we need is to begin building on the policies that have worked in the past. As such, We need a leadership, a government that understands all these dynamics, not just knee-jerk reactions, because knee-jerk reactions, they destroy a country. They don't help build it. You see? So we've had so many people who just wake up one day and say, let us get all the foreign companies and own these foreign companies by Zambians. No, it never works like that. Let's look at Botswana, one of the models of how you can run parastatals. The government must have shares, okay, in private companies, but the government should not be controlling those private companies. That's very important. But in Zambia, suddenly, what we are saying is, let us nationalize all these companies. And in fact, there is one famous economist who is pushing for this kind of nonsense, you see? And I'm very happy that at least they ignore him. Much of the Patriotic Front government, they actually ignore the gentleman, because they know that the kind of economic things that he talks about would be responsible for more confusion in our economy than actually help. What we need is not all this just knee-jerk reaction towards nationalization. We have to deal with our leadership, our politics. Zambia's problem is not economic, it is political. Once we fix the political problem, we are going to fix our economic problems. That's why all this rush towards nationalization, all this rush towards IDC, imagine, and the president is saying that he's the chair of IDC. Now, how can you have a gentleman as chair of IDC who just yesterday was threatening one of the business people in our country about arresting him for privatization? So what sort of a guy is that is going to run companies? And this is a guy that is saying that is the IDC chair. You are the IDC chair, and you are threatening to arrest a citizen of the country who runs businesses. For what? For what you believe are crimes he committed in 1998. You see, it's all these problems that lead to economic issues. Again, Zambia's problem is not economical. Zambia's problem is not the fact that we don't have resources. Zambia's problem is leadership. We have leadership that is selfish. We have leadership that likes stealing. We have leadership that looks to its own interests. We have leadership that appears humble, but inside it is a leadership which is full of wolves. These are wolves in sheep's clothing. They talk very well, they dance very well, they speak very well, but they are dangerous to our country and to our economy. Once we sort out the leadership issue and we strengthen our institutions, it will be very easy to grow our economy. That is the only issue here. Because you can have all these companies and say that you're going to internalize all the forex that goes out. But if you do not have strong institutions and sober leaders, it is not going to work. In fact, Zambia has done this before, where they say, oh, these foreign companies, they shouldn't take out any forex and blah, 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 blah. And you know what happens? When there is a by-election, these ruling parties, they go to these companies, they get corrupted, they get money, and they loosen all the restrictions. So the problem is never about our economy. The problem is political. Once we resolve the leadership problem in our country, we are going to do far much better. That's the issue. Lukashya, Mwansabombwe, or whatever it is always leadership. Everything rises or falls on leadership. That is the problem we have. Are we willing to resolve that? Yes, we are. Are Zambians willing to resolve that? Yes, we are. And that's why Zambians are concerned. That's why that's why we are doing what we are doing. It is because we know that with good leadership, we are going to do better. We are going to do well. Yeah. So before we even point at foreign companies, for goodness sake, let us point at our own systems. What is going on in our own systems? What is going on with the president? Why should the president be chair of IDC? Why should the president be issuing threats in Mwansabombwe to a citizen? How can that inspire confidence in an economy? No, it can't. How can the president appoint a ruling party operative as Bank of Zambia governor? A gentleman who's never had experience with monetary policy ever, no. Or central banking, no experience in central banking. And this is the person that this president chooses to be governor of the Bank of Zambia. And everybody knows that this gentleman is just there to carry out the wishes of the Patriotic Front. That is where the problem is. So when I'm looking at the kind of leaders that we need in our country, you look at the political spectrum, you can speculate. You can see uyuapala kupandu ichi kwanka bachimwena kumampalanya. Because abena mwanawasa, even if mwanawasa was eccentric na rupia banda wakwe, they had good leaders for Minister of Finance. They were respected ministers of finance. If there is a lot of pressure politically, Ngandu Magande would withstand it and say, no, this is how we are going to steer our monetary policy, right? And as a result of that, our economy grew and stabilized. Imagine, in 1990, we were a $3 billion GDP economy. And we grew significantly under Levi Mwanawasa and Rupia Banda, significantly. And because of that growth, it continued during the Michael Sata regime. Today, we are sitting at about $21 billion economy, GDP. But all signs are showing that we are likely to begin declining. And it has nothing to do with COVID. It has everything to do with lack of sound management of our economy. Our GDP is likely to decline and contract. And what is the reason? It is because this government wants to begin the same model that failed in the 70s and 80s, nationalization and the parastatal model, which has failed, right? So we dumped that model. And after we dumped it in 1990, we paid a huge price with privatization. In the 2000s, we had our debts forgiven by the whites. You see, they forgave our debts in the 2000s. And so it was very easy to then build an economy in that way. And our GDP started growing, 20 billion. Now, when we reach 20 billion, President Lungu has no clue, absolutely no clue. The ministers of finance he's appointing also have no clue. And then he adds to that a Bank of Zambia governor who also has no clue. And so because of that, things will begin dwindling and going down. And then the politics, right now, what they are saying is, let's go back to the Kenneth Kaunda parastatal model. That's where now they are saying, let's go back to where the state-owned companies and industries. And you know how that went. Most of the young people in Zambia do not know how that went, because after Chiruba, so tamwa ishibe fiare chitika mu 70s na mu 80s. Twalikweta makampani yako akaonda quite right. They were all loss-making, one. Secondly, ward chairman had more authority ukuchila managing director wa company. UBZ bus. Ward chairman galefo a UBZ bus kuya ifumye pamwa isene afumyapo ward chairman aeba basati mweba nini nekalat mulea kukitwe amilongolola mwalongoloka ward chairman amilongolola ward chairman ati bas na bayito kuya kuisa mukutwala abana be school mukuposha kaunda. That's the parastatal model which has failed. Eyo nomba balefwa yokubwekesha po balungu parastatal model. Instead of building on the successes that took us from $3 billion economy to a $20 billion economy. Balefwa kuchitafire fine fialengero ko bati tube a $3 billion economy in the 90s. So that we postpone our liberation again. Kuntanshi ero nomba kugeze chiruba umbi. Uwakutulubula konomba muli confusion ya balungu. Mamunefire chitika. Instead of us building, fikula from poor economies fiambokula nini. Tanzania is now a medium income country. Tanzania ni Kiswahili. Ama Tanzania nzaba Kiswahili. Medium income country. Nomba ifwe. You know what is happening? Confusion. Efirengere. Tantu kwena kuti Tanzania yatuchira shani. If we ama minerals tuwa na population is smaller. Na masambiriro tuwatisoma. Ama universities nechisungu tulalanda. Not Ichiswahili, Ichisungu. But today we want to go back. Kulikaunda, honestly. And it will end up all. Yo tulande fiat yom kwai kwatita tutonton kanya. Tuleke fiat yom kwai konkanie nipo efine mulechita. Ngwekere nimukulikaona. No kutotela sana. Gabalanda ZCCM ya chitefi muatota. Mwebo. ZCCM hii. Lungu ngalefu okufumia hapo ZCCM dare ayafye amtamfya tikabie. Eyo munga shete kiroko wat ni ZCCM Investment Holdings ya manwe. Pantu lungu ngafwa ya kolu pia from ZCCM Investment Holdings elo no managing director akana kumutamfya epela. Number, is that a company that can inspire confidence in an economy? Yom kwa ina bachitari organize IDC na ZCCM na fiance. It's all garbage. It's useless. It's nonsense. Tapali yuko fika. It cannot build our economy. That model has failed. Pambi vichitika. Ivichitika mwebega la charo. Egeni miebe kwa ivichitika fya kwa bate. Where the president is directly involved in businesses. Where is directly involved and this political party are directly involved, nishi expertise becomes secondary. Sound business decisions become secondary. Valungu balikuwa that presidential empowerment fund. It's private funds yo valungu wabe na tibaba pera kofie. Ati valungu ngabale pita vasanga fya abantu abako batu basabe bati lungu walepa gwino baba perenda lamu. Nangu fila bareshana kumwansa bombo ati kulifya abantu bamwaba bapera kwa ati bulungu washana wino baba kaika ama thousands and thousands baba pera ama thousands balungu. So bali kwa ata akasaka kandala makobeta at presidential empowerment fund. It is not related to the national treasury, no. Ati ba nabo fye baba pera kolupia. Oh. One day, President Lungu wanted to take some of this money to Mongo. Guess what he did? By the way, a Zambia Air Force plane. Iyama soldier. Now, imagine if you had Zambia Airways. What was he going to do? He was going to use one of those Zambia Airways planes. Atikabie, tuwalo lulu pia, akasaka kandalama, kubalozi in Mongo, go and distribute this money. That's what they were going to use. And as a result of that model, you cannot build an economy that way because expertise is secondary. Political survival becomes primary. And employing people, putting people on the payroll becomes primary. And the more you put people on the payroll, you're not producing money, you go back to borrowing and borrowing. That is what used to happen in the Kaunda regime. Wages are going to go down and remain stagnant. And to pay this huge number of people payroll, you've got to continue borrowing. So our economy is 20 billion, perhaps out of that 20 billion, we've borrowed a 15 billion. It's just that Valungu is not even transparent about the kind of debt that we have as a country. Tabalanda, Parliament, Tabayeva. So there are some debt contracts right now. It's Lungu personally who signed and committed the country to those debts. And so today they come and tell us that the parastatal model is the answer to the confusion that is happening currently. Elo nombogo ite kwa mano. Haga inde hichilema, naba mchitasha na nabo mfuye chisungu. I will not use Ichivemba because mulembe pesha imwe ngana bomfye Ichivemba tindetu kana. No. So, nja bomfye Ichivemba I'll use English because English temwalanda tindetu. So they've smeared. Efe balandirat smearing campaign. Imu wana got smearing ya Russia. Kushingo muntu smear. So now they've started a smearing campaign. Chamfika kwa wino. Smearing. Nja bomfye Ichivemba yo. narabomfya smearing. So they've taken all these issues and now they've smeared againde ichi okubula hichirema ero nombo okumuchita smear from head to toe such that you can't see againde ichirema. When you look at him iwole monafye what he has been smeared with efyo balechita because they don't have a plan. Nachishimba kambwiri wine nawo wine smeared onse uli mu opposition oleyanda kwefya mano smeared bamuchita shani bamuchita smear njala ndechibemba bantu mulambe pesha nemulanda nalanda kufya chibemba ati yo munsha watukana. No, not anymore. So you continue to smear these people. You smear them kandande mwawula mafi elo mwabashinga ati yo mgwai eva ati eva nyere evo mwashinga amafi ati eva nyere na ifwe tusumbine ati vifire chitike inamba tui yako aichirema ukoko safia ati aba safishe apa ni hichirema na ifwe tusumbine. We cannot do that. The reason is as a country we have been through it. We've seen it. So how can we be going backwards instead of going forward when our economy grew from 3 billion to 20 billion in 20 years? You see how wonderful that growth is? From 3 billion in 1990 to 2020, 21 billion, from 3 billion, about 20 billion growth in 30 years. Adding an average of 7 billion to our GDP every decade. Isn't that wonderful? Now, how can we abandon a model that has worked? It's been difficult, quite all right, but that's why we sacrificed. We that grew up in the 90s, we are the ones who started paying school fees. Not the 80s and the 70s, they were not paying school fees. It was all free because Kaunda was borrowing on their behalf. Kaunda le akongola, elo abeba tfia free. Na bena basumina tfia free. Nomba chiti ya bafiru wokuteka nomba. Bambo kula kwekela more those false ideas aya kwa Kaunda. Ati yo mkwai, because fia free. You can only, there is nothing for free. No, nothing for free anywhere. It's because somebody is paying for it. I'm going to pick up my daughter. Thank you very much. God bless you. I'm picking on one. I'm picking no one. So now I'm picking on one. Okay, thank you very much. God bless.